What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's going on with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of tickers out there, and break down what's going on with the overall market, what you should be watching for moving forward, some very important levels as well, and what's going on with the trends so far. I'm also going to break down why Tesla has just exploded this morning as we predicted yesterday, and how it's going to be looking moving forward for the rest of the day. But before I break anything down, all this information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I'm firstly not a financial planner, so take none of this as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks with a $50 cash reward. The offer ends in just about 10 days, so check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. All right, guys, so I'm kind of late this morning. We're actually recording this, and I'm talking about this about an hour after the market is opened. And so far, things are looking quite good. We're actually looking quite nice so far for most stocks out there. You can see SPY is trying to hold up, and Tesla's holding up very nicely. Tesla's up over 5%. But the question is, what's going on with the market, and what should you know as we approach today? So first off, there wasn't any major economic data that came out. Secondly, after getting lots of downside, with the Nasdaq 100, the Dow, not to mention the S&P 500 and all the indices, they were down quite a bit for the last couple of weeks. So a relief bounce like this is completely normal. So far, Apple is not extremely strong, but it is showing some life as we're seeing a potential accumulation forming. We have lots of retail earnings coming out, from Macy's to Kohl's to Nordstrom, not to mention the Dollar Tree earnings coming out quite soon. And the big dog is coming out as well. It's going to be Nvda later on for Wednesday. So make sure you're ready for all of that. And in China right now, we are continuing to see signs of economic downturns perpetuating. There have been more talks about them potentially cutting rates again. We actually saw a 10 basis point cut on the 1 year loan prime rate, and it could actually continue with another 15 basis point cuts. That's what I've seen so far, but overall, that's not really having as big of an effect on the market, at least for now. Now, as far as Tesla goes, we got hit with some good news so far. There's some excitement about the Model 3, the new one that's coming out, not to mention the Cybertruck, as we're seeing more and more news about it, potentially, being put into production and continuing to improve. So great stuff is still coming out for Tesla. It's jumping so far as a result of that. There's also some more bullish news that came out as Baird has come out and they've maintained an outperform rating on Tesla with a $300 price target. And they're also talking about how there are lots of catalysts to help this thing push up even more. So they basically talked about how moving forward, Tesla will continue to give us bullish catalysts. That's what they're saying so far for after the second quarter earnings. They're saying that the Cybertruck launch is going to be very, very important for them. And they mentioned that wider scale adoption of the FSD is going to continue to grow. And they mentioned that their energy business will continue to expand as well. And they mentioned that by AI Day, we could see more developments. They mentioned other things such as the Cybertruck being very bullish, and they just went on about how the next few months could be very good for Tesla and more catalysts could come out. And they're saying that they're raising their target to $300 a share on Tesla, which is why Tesla's pumping the way it is, or at least that's playing a very, very big role. Tesla was also down 7 days in a row, so getting a pump like this is completely normal. That's good for Tesla. It's been very brutal for the last couple of days, and now Tesla's finally getting the bounce we're looking for. So now, anyways, let's talk about the market. Let's talk about how things are looking. I'm going to start off with Tesla before I talk about SPY and etc. I'm just going to talk about a couple just to get this done quickly because I am very late this morning. For Tesla, looking quite good. Okay, so we got this break from our resistance trend line right about here, and Tesla continued to push. It broke above 225 after holding up 221. It broke above 225. Then it pushed all the way up to 230 after that. This hit this resistance almost exactly. It rejected exactly at the resistance we had drawn out. Then it came down. Now it's approaching 225. In fact, I think it's actually very close to VWAP right now. So on this chart, I have like VWAP and like our MACD and other things like that. It's very close to the VWAP test right here, and it's trying to bounce off of that. So we're going to be watching this level very carefully. VWAP is key for right now. And then for our levels, if it gets above VWAP, we have some resistance right here. We have our 200 EMA very close to about this 228.25 area. If it gets above that, 230 is on the table again. And if it breaks above 230, this thing could technically push even higher to this resistance right here at like 231.6, 232.5. 233 flat and 235 are all possibilities, but I'm not too worried about those yet until we break above 230. For now, it is slowing down just a little bit, completely normal after such a crazy pump. 225 is what we're going to be watching on a VWAP as well. And if all of them break, there is a possibility it could come down to like 221. But I'm not really counting on that as of right now. We'll have to see how it holds. It's holding up quite nicely compared to the market so far. So it looks very, very good, right? Nice accumulation. There could be more upside coming, and it looks very, very decent overall compared to the market. Now, what else helped the market pump as soon as we opened was Nvda. This thing is a monster. It is continuing to pump and pump and pump. Looking at the current trend on this, we had a very, very nice looking flag that formed, and we got the breakout just this morning. Now, I told you all that, looking at this drop on Friday, this was not a natural drop. They dropped it to start accumulating those shares for much cheaper. This was an accumulation right here. These institutions were buying at support at 416 so that they could just launch this thing back up. During the pre-market, we saw this thing just start breaking out of this overall channel, and we saw this bull flag breakout, and this thing is just pushing very, very nicely. The full measured move will take this thing to about 470. I'm not saying it's going to happen with 100% certainty, but so far it's holding up very nicely. There's a high probability it is not done just yet. So we got the breakout. We're testing this resistance zone right here I had drawn out earlier. That's between this 452, it's about 455 area. If it breaks above this, it's going to fly to 460. Then there's 462, 465, then 470 after that as resistance. I believe it's very strong right now. There's a good chance it's going to try pushing for much higher levels. I think it's going to continue to pump approaching its earnings. It's looking very strong so far. And as it continues to pump, this could help the market to some extent. But there is something slowing the market down a little bit, and that's going to be Apple. Apple's not looking that strong. It got a very nice pump to start us off, pushing to about 175.5. Then it came back down to about 174 and is trying to bounce off that. Looking at it, I think it's currently very close to VWAP. But the thing is, we still technically have an inverse head and shoulder structure on us, and we have this imbalance up here. We need this thing to get above 177.5. I think eventually it's going to try to do so. And if it breaks that, then this imbalance could take it all the way up to about 177. That is very possible for Apple, and I think there's a good chance of that happening. And if anything, it's holding up very, very nicely. So I think it's going to try to hold these levels, kind of range trade for a bit, then continue pumping later on. But overall, it's holding up. It held up where it needed to, and it's still looking decent. So this is good for the market. This is good for SPY and etc. Looking at SPY or SPY, this is also holding up quite decently. So we got this, we had this overall support or resistance trend line right here. You can see how it was respecting this. And we actually came very close to it when we bounced right here. We got a very big pump to open us up. We saw this thing pump all the way up to about almost 439, just under that. Came down to our support. It bounced off 436.5. It could drop a little bit lower. I mean, I was talking about this potential gap fill earlier. It could come a little bit lower before trying to get that bounce, or it could just bounce from here. And then the thing to remember is that this inverse head and shoulders could take this thing all the way up, technically speaking, to about 440 plus based off technicals. 440 is a possibility for the next 2 days, within 1 to 2 days from now. And we have this imbalance up here, which is going to act as a magnet if we do end up breaking above 439. I don't think it's done just yet. You could see it's showing lots of life. It's just that it wasn't ready to pump so hard, so fast. It just needs a little bit more time. We're seeing institutions still trying to buy. So not looking too bad as long as it holds above these levels, as long as it holds above like the 435.5-ish area, 435 flat. As long as it holds above that, it has potential to push up. It's holding up so far so nicely, but we have to just watch it for the time being and see how it reacts to resistance. Not looking super strong, but not looking very weak either. It's kind of in the middles for now because Apple was like dragging the market down, whereas Nvidia was holding us up. That's very important. That's worth noting. And what's outperforming SPY is the QQQ. So once again, don't forget to watch resistance. Watch this thing at 437. 436.5 is going to be our support. 436 flat. Then below that, there's like the 435s. For resistance, don't forget 437, 438 flats, just under 439. And then above that, we have 440, 442, and then 444 as our areas of resistance. For the QQQ, let me just mention that triple Q is looking decent. It is forming a nice accumulation structure. It is also holding up nicely, and there could be more upside like this. That's a real possibility. I'm just going to close this out, though, because so far it's so good. For the triple Q, if it breaks above 363, it has the potential to push all the way up to about 365 or almost 365. And then for support, you're going to be watching 360 flat. If that breaks, it could come down right here to about 359. If that breaks in, there's like 358 flat, and below that we have 357.5, then 355. So what do I see for this? This looks bullish. Nice accumulation structure is developing. It looks like it may reach this imbalance to about 364 over the next 2 days, if not even higher, thanks to Nvda and the other stocks out there. We need to see Apple show a little bit more life, and that could really help this market pump. This is once again just a temporary pump I'm talking about. I'm not saying the market's going to all-time highs or anything like that. Not at all. I'm simply stating that this is a temporary pump approaching Nvidia's earnings. Everything could change after its earnings, and also after Jerome Powell speaks. So just have this in your mind. Do what you have to do, and I'll most definitely see you guys in the next video later on in just a couple of hours. All right. So thank you for listening. Have a great day, everyone. The market's to the moon alongside Tesla's. The long term is very bright, and peace out.